So one of the things that I think students as well as people in their 20s can really benefit from is doing a better job in their business writing when it comes to not only documents, business reports, presentations, decks, etc., all the writing pieces of it, but also especially business emails. And that's why I'm writing actually a second book on business writing to complement the first book on presentation skills. And I wanted to go over something with you that is really important, and it's pretty quick. And I think that you can really get a lot out of this if you begin to embrace this. So I'm about to show you a real email. Of course, the names have been changed to protect the innocent, although I'm not sure how innocent, quote, this person is. This is an individual who wrote an email recently, and they're in their 60s, actually, from what I understand. And let me take you quickly through what they sent and how I would look at it differently and how you could basically repackage it. So if we take a look at this, again, the names have been changed. So this is an email from me to Kimberly Smith. And if you take a look at, this is the original email, and it was literally written this way. So I am not going to read this out loud to you. This is a little too painful. If you want to basically just hit pause right now and take a minute or two to read it, if you want to read the whole thing, that's fine. If you don't want to read the whole thing, that's okay too. But this literally is the exact way that the email came in. So before we get into some of the mechanics of it, take a look at this slide here. And what I did was I highlighted what I think are the parts that don't need to even be in this email. Now, I know sometimes this can come across as a little bit mean, but I'm not being mean. I'm just being realistic, and I'm just being truthful. Remember, business writing is not poetry. It's not about feelings and emotions. Most of the time, 99% of the time, business writing is about getting things done, asking what it is you need to ask, and going in and then going out, okay? So again, I'm not going to read this all to you, but if you want to hit pause and you want to take a look at the whole thing, that's fine. But what I've highlighted, I don't really think that the recipient, meaning in this respect, your audience, I don't think that the recipient really needs to see this. Okay, so what have I done now? Take a look at this right here. This is how I would repackage this email. So number one, I've taken out things that I don't think we need. I've cleaned up a little bit of the language, and if you look at what's now in bullet points, there's two main purposes to that. One, I basically put the most important pieces of the overall email into bullet points. And two, I've utilized the concept of white space. And white space is something that I am going to be addressing in the upcoming book. And I'll also most likely address it in various videos from time to time. So if you basically look at this, and I'll read this to you. Hi, Kim. I'd like to understand the requirements for uploading executive contacts into Salesforce. So that's essentially what this individual is looking for. And then I put in parentheses mainly legacy accounts that haven't migrated to SAP for an outbound email and old-fashioned cold calling, campaign follow-up. Okay, because you want to offer a little bit of context. Okay, fine. And if you look at what's in really the body here, curious about bullet one, any templates that you would use to upload these lists in the in-house Salesforce application. Bullet point two, if the application you use provides the names of the companies to avoid duplication. And then bullet point three, any content I can reference for these types of campaigns we've done in the past. So these 3 bullet points are really what you are essentially, in terms of the meat of what it is you need to ask and what you really need to drive down to, is really what I think is the main focus here. And notice the other point of business writing, which I talk about all the time, I really do, you don't want to have your reader have to read. Business people, in business, we do not like to read. Business people like to scan. Business people do not like to read. So don't make people read, and instead have people scan. In business writing, we don't like to be taken on a journey, okay? We don't want the journey, we just want the destination. So a couple of other quick things here. If you just take a look at this for a moment and you look at some metrics that I put together from the original versus my version of this. So in the original, we had 174 words. In my version, we had 81 words. In this respect, less is definitely more. Does this discuss purpose of the note immediately up front? In the original, no, you have to hunt for it. And in my version, yes. And again, my version has 56% less words. Is there white space? In the original, no. In my version, yes. It breaks things apart. Are there bullet points? In the original, no. In my version, yes. Is it easy to read? The original, I think that absolutely not. In my version, I didn't want to add too many variables and recreate the entire email from scratch, but I do think that my version is a lot easier to read. And is it easier to digest? I think that my version hopefully is easier to digest, and I hopefully think it's a lot easier to digest. So now you know how to write business emails in a better way, get to your point a little bit faster, or in some cases, a lot faster. Have your recipient, your reader, your audience appreciate your email a lot more, and build a much better reputation throughout the organization of being a clear and effective communicator. So send me your comments and questions, and each week you'll get a chance to win a copy of my book. And I'll answer your comments and questions during the QA video for that week.